Who is the next generation of the Democratic Party? Semaphore is reporting that at least a half dozen senators are now viewed as potential 2028 candidates by their colleagues and top Democrats on Capitol Hill. It's a lot of folks. Semaphore is calling it a potential presidential primary dogpile in 2028. Joining us now, Phil Bump and Peter Baker, who are still with us. All right, so Phil, let's talk about the field and what the field might need to consider. You've got some polling on what costs the Democrats in 2024. Lay it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way you framed it as being the next generation, I think is really important. One of the things that we saw in 2024 is we saw this decline in support for the Democratic candidate among younger voters in particular. Part of that, I think, is just that younger voters don't recognize the exception that Donald Trump is within our political system. But part of it is just that the Democrats have actually lost ground, particularly among young men and particularly young men of color. We've also seen polling that suggests that there's been sort of some reversion, that some of that support for Trump has probably been fallen back over the course of the first couple months of his presidency. So we're sort of in uncertain territory. But the Democratic Party has for a long time now been more subject to the whims of young people because young people are more likely to vote for Democrats than they are for Republicans. And so the Democratic Party has to be very attentive to this. And so I think that a candidate who's able to effectively argue to young people that they are the vision, that they are the way forward for the country, I think that person's probably going to have more luck as a general election candidate. The question, of course, is, are those young people going to vote in the primary and therefore help get that person on the ticket in the first place?
So I think that's a really good point that you made at the top, which is that for younger voters, Donald Trump is not an anomaly. He's not a disruptor of the status quo. He is the status quo. Donald Trump-style politics is what they've always known. And understanding that and understanding and then reacting to the world that we live in today, not the world that we lived in 10 years ago, 20 years ago, is important. And when you have in the Democratic Party right now, Peter, is a generation that harkens back to a very different political climate. And there have been arguments out there made and criticisms that Democratic leadership are playing by old rules that no longer apply.